how we can use our voices to make a difference. So how we can tap into all these stories, and how we can think about countering these stock stories that make everybody's lives more difficult and also worse. So when we think about storytelling, we are thinking about like the oldest tool that humanity has, basically. I know that a lot of us, and I can speak at least for myself, when I first started advocating, I thought that the only thing people would want to hear was really like facts, numbers, figures, all that kind of thing. It's really not the case. People want to hear stories. They want to hear how people's lives are and what impacts them.
So our last type of story is called counter stories. So these stories are news stories, right? Hint, news stories that are being constructed to directly challenge the stock stories and strengthen resistance stories. How can we build on top of resistance stories? Power share within communities rather than just elected officials and rich people. Tomorrow's leaders in this chat. Following leadership of marginalized communities and people. Okay. Fighting against the stock stories, even if it means not seeing the result for generations to come. Wow.
You can share your story here. You can use storytelling and your own personal experiences, your own emotion to get across that this issue, this bill, this law will really be affecting me positively or negatively. And it's so incredibly powerful.
This is where it is extremely helpful if you can speak directly to the changes being made. Can you speak on a personal experience, or are you affected by the current law in place? Here's a quote I came across. Remember, statistics, research studies, and opinions are often forgotten, but the stories you might tell resonate with them forever. And this goes back to the power of storytelling, right?
If you can imagine that your one voice gets recorded, like literally recorded in their documenting system, imagine what 10, 15, 20, 25, messages about one thing do. Obviously, they're going to be that much more powerful. And I keep stressing that You'll Be Heard because this is a really intimidating thing to do. And it's something that not many people do actually end up pursuing. But when you sit down and say, I can do this, I don't need to be intimidated, I don't need to be scared, the amount that you can accomplish is truly incredible.
The big fish is someone who is in a position of power and can make decisions that affect your life. By yourself, you might be intimidated, you might not be able to go up against that big fish, but together and organized, you're able to be an even bigger threat and pressure our leaders to make the right decisions that benefit us. You need to know and recognize where your movement is doing well, what needs to be adjusted, and adjust your plan if necessary. Like you might develop a plan at the beginning and end up scrapping it or revising it. Or maybe COVID happens and you realize you need brand new tactics, brand new strategy to approach the issue.
At its core, self-care is a really radical concept that we can and should be taking care of ourselves, especially in a world that doesn't always prioritize us, right? So making sure that when you're exhausted, you take a break and know that the great thing about advocacy is that there are other people who will take up the cause while you're resting and refreshing yourself, and then you jump back in, you get involved. But you can't do this work if you're burned out. It's real, it happens, and we need to prevent that from happening. And the great thing about being involved with other organizations like CDF or Young Invincibles or the many, many other great orgs that are out there is that we'll help you walk you through that process.